Welcome back to 100 Hats Gaming's, folks. It's Nico here again. I just beat Brock, and I'm looking to head to Mount Moon. I think I'm going to switch Schneider up to the front so you get some XP. Yeah. I always kind of like the idea of taking Charmander in this game, just because it really did seem like hard mode, whereas Bulbasaur kind of seemed like easy mode. But I really feel like no matter what Pokemon what your starter isn't going to change your overall experience too much beyond which one you like, at least in Gen 1. In other gens, I feel like there are Pokemon that you shouldn't take. Again, this is just personal opinion, but when I'm playing through the games, I almost never use a fire type anymore. Like when I was little, I always had this idea in my head that if I wanted a balanced team, I needed a water type and a grass type and a fire type. And nowadays when I'm playing through the game, a lot of times I still want a water type, you know, and there's so many water types to choose from that it's easy to slot one on your team. And a lot of times still do a grass type too. When I played through X and Y, I trained a Go-Goat and thought he was awesome. And I started with Froakie, so there's my grass and water type. But I didn't train a fire type, and I generally don't have a fire type in my team unless it's the starter. And I wasn't a big fan of Delphox or Heatmore, so it's and I kind of liked Infernape. I actually have an Infernape now I use, who I love, but Torterra is probably my favorite starter Pokemon of all time. Again, personal opinion here, but I just feel like when you're playing through the game, the main thing you run into that you're going to want a fire type for is when you're fighting lots of grass types. But just because of the, like, usefulness of DHM Fly when you're playing through the game, I almost always have a flying type. And that generally hits the grass and bug types. So, you know, there's other things like steel types and things that it can be sand attack, that it could be useful to have a fire type against, but since around Gen 4, I stopped slotting a fire type in my team and just started pretty much always slotting a fighting type. Gen 4 was Lucario. I don't remember who it was in Gen 5. I honestly can't remember my first Gen 5 playthrough, which is kind of sad. That's not true, I remember some members. I remember thinking, as soon as I saw Chandelure, I wanted to train it, and I remember thinking Hydreigon was my new favorite pseudo-legend, favorite endgame dragon. I really still do think Hydreigon is awesome, like without a doubt. I'm super glad I chose to train Hydreigon then, and I would train a Hydreigon again in a heartbeat any day. But yeah, I really enjoyed the experience of playing through Gen 5, so I bought Black initially and enjoyed it so much I actually went back and bought my another copy of bought a copy of Pokemon White as well, and played through them both and kept all my stuff in my Black while restarting my White. But my Black got damaged and I lost years of Pokemon, like everything from my Gen 4 games. It was like heartbreaking because all I had on my White was the team I'd been playing through with at the time, which, you know, was they were cool, but it wasn't the Pokemon I had for years. The only thing I was happy I still had was I'd lost my first ever shiny Pokemon was a shiny Palpitoad I caught in my Black. That was my first ever one I caught myself, and it broke my heart that I lost it. I still haven't replaced it. I still really want to. But I did manage to hold on to my second ever shiny Pokemon was a shiny Durant I caught playing through my White for the first time, and I put it on my team when I played through my White later on. So that shiny Durant luckily was still there, but it was funny because I traded stuff off my White and restarted with this custom, like, super bred team with all my favorite Pokemon to kind of rebuild some of my favorites I lost, and ran into another shiny Durant. to this day, I actually have 2 shiny Durants in my competitive box. I don't use them that often, especially since one is a hidden ability and hasn't Truant, so its only real purpose is giving other things Truant through entrainment, which is, you know, fun and funny and can throw off my opponents sometimes, but it's a gimmick, so it's this thing I use too often. I will always remember the team I used when I played through my white after losing my black, because a couple of my friends helped me like get special Pokemon together for it. And instead of starting with Snivy, I started with a Turtwig my friend had bred for me that had Stealth Rock and Seed Bomb. So I had a strong Grass Stab and Seed Bomb right off the bat. I hunted down using my Heart Gold and bred a Zubat with Hypnosis, because Crobat is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time. I recently bought a Pokemon card deck because it came with 2 Crobats in it. And that was like the whole reasoning I needed in my head. Crobat's just possibly my favorite Pokemon of all time. I trained it in a playthrough of Silver version way back in the day, and I trained it in my first Pokemon Pearl, my first Gen 4 playthrough. It was on my team, and it was just, I've always thought it was a cool Pokemon. I now have a couple different Crobat builds I run and use. Don't you learn Double Kick? I could be remembering wrong. But yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. Great. A special Crobat with Hypnosis. The only Pokemon I actually caught while playing the game was Joltik. To this day, Joltik's one of my favorite Pokemon. I think he's really cute. I think he's awesome. And Galvantula is really fun. I think it's a really cool type combination. And it's probably my favorite, definitely my favorite electric type, if not my favorite bug type. I'm not going to say it's the best, you know, I've got other electric types I use more. I've my Scizor in Gen 5 cleaned up. I've got a new Scizor for Gen 6, it's also great, so, you know, there are other good electric types and other good bug types, but personally Galvantula is just a huge personal favorite. I had a Dark Pulse Dano on that team. I still have that Hydreigon. I think I still have all of these Pokemon from this special team. Yeah, Hydreigon with Dark Pulse, which was a pain to get, honestly. This day and age, there's a lot of different ways to breed Dark Pulse onto Dano, but just for like sampling, what I actually had to do was on a copy of Fire Red, I had to catch an Arbok, and then transfer that Arbok up to a Gen 4 game, or catch an Arbok. I might have just been able to catch the Arbok in Gen 4. I think I transferred it up from a Fire Red, though, which might have been an extra unneeded level of difficulty. Because Arbok's in the Dragon Egg group, so it can breed with Dano. And I had to then teach that Arbok Dark Pulse, because nothing else in the Dragon Egg group learned it by level up, and the only way you could teach it by TM at that point was in Gen 4. So then I had to transfer this Arbok, the new Dark Pulse, up to a Gen 5 game, which I didn't have, like I said, I was in the process of restarting my white, so I actually had to transfer it up and then trade it to a friend who bred it for me. Oh crap, you came over, now I gotta fight... Like, yeah, I know, like, I'll probably fight the trainers anyway, but it's still, like, nice to be able to get around some of them. It took out really complicated breeding chains, though. I just started trying to breed Switcheroo on Noivern, and I was looking at it, and the only parent that can pass that move on to it is Archeops and Arkin. But Archeops and Arkin only get Switcheroo as an egg move from, like, I think Crawdaunt can pass it on to them, and like maybe one or two others, but Crawdaunt's the one I remember sticking out. But Crawdaunt doesn't learn it by level ups. And to get it on Crawdaunt, you need to breed it with, like, a Floatzel. And again, there's a couple other options, but Floatzel's, again, the one that sticks out. And even Floatzel doesn't get it. But Floatzel finally can breed with things that do get access to it, even though Crawdot can't, because it's like Noivern's in the monster or dragon egg group, something like that, with Archeops. Then Archeops is in the water 3 egg group. And then Crawdon's in the water 3 egg group and the water 1 egg group. And Floatzel's in the water 1 egg group and the water 2 egg group is something that finally gets switcheroo. It's like the most convoluted chain, and it's in Gen 6. It just seems completely unnecessary. I should use Leech Seed. This Cocoon is going to be a pain. Nope, that critical make this simple. I did something similar to that complicated. Again, on that team from when I restarted my white. I also trained Lucario, because Lucario's one of my favorite fighting types, probably. And I know he's kind of like cliche, but I just like him. I liked him when he came out in Gen 4. I made a point of making it so when I first played through Pearl, my Riolu evolved at level 2. I was very proud of that fact. But anyway, we started with a Tyrogue, and we leveled the Tyrogue up into being a Hitmonchan, and made it learn Bullet Punch, and then bred it so that the Tyrogue would then have Bullet Punch. And then we had to level up that Tyrogue into being a Hitmonlee to get High Jump Kick and Blaze Kick. And then bred a Hitmonlee with High Jump Kick and Blaze Kick, who also had Bullet Punch, with a female Lucario in order to get Riolu with Bullet Punch, High Jump Kick, and Blaze Kick. And to this day, I still run all 3 of those moves on Lucario. My main Lucario these days is actually a shiny one that I hatched totally by accident and very early into breeding a new one. So he's not even like he doesn't even have a nature I want. He's actually got like a defense lowering nature, but I don't care. I like him. He's cool. I should use him more often. I had a new strategy. I was gonna try, mostly as a joke, but I was gonna try a. Oh, Vine Whip does do more damage, even though they're bug types. Is Vine Whip special? I don't remember if Grass is special or physical for this game. It must be special, because Harden didn't seem like it lowered the damage at all. Alright, folks, I'm going to call this an episode. I will see you soon. I'm going to keep trying to get to Mount Moon. Trainers upon trainers upon trainers, I know. Alright, folks, take care.